Wrestling fans, this is Shadow Shoot Shot, and this week's Shoot Shot is on AEW Dynamite 250th episode. It's big, it's epic, it's fantastic, and it opened up with none other than MJF and Will Osprey, the match that everyone's been waiting for, the biggest match of AEW history, given free, live on TBS. So, here's the question. Was it worth it? Was it worth the wait? I'm going to break this match down one time for your mind, and I'd like to hear your feedback. Like and subscribe to the Shadows Shoot Shot, Shadows Podcast, and Shadowe Knows Network. Like and subscribe. Right there, somewhere. All right, let's jump into it. We've got a good opening of the match, you know, and a series of moves and counter moves and everything else like that to show that they understand each other, and which is great. That's how you open a match. That's how you really progress a match to really draw the fans in. And so when I look at that between MJF and Will Osprey, I say, wow, I am impressed. Now, I've always said that MJF is not my favorite wrestler. I said Will Osprey tends to be a little bit over the top. So the question mark was, for me, whether or not these guys could put on a match. Now we're talking about whether or not these guys can put on a 60-minute match. Why was this match an hour? I don't know. I don't understand. But let's break it down. Go deeper. Go a little bit further. It was a good pace match. It was a series of counter moves and stuff that they did on each other, and that started off with a very good pace. Once they got into like the 10 to 12 minutes, I was like, okay, cool, this is a good match, Then there was the pile driver. Not necessary. Very dangerous. That's a move that should be eliminated from wrestling altogether, but it was done. It is what it is. Then we got into the figure four leg lock. MJF put Will Osprey in a figure four leg lock. In that point, I think it was about into like 25, 30 minutes into the match. And that's a rest spot. That's a spot where the guys take the time, take a breather, collect their thoughts, let the fans absorb what they've seen thus far. And it was understandable, reasonable. It was good. It was fantastic. You know, they caught their breath and then they jumped right into it. Now, here's the part that kind of bothered me, and this is the thing where it's like, you know, I think MJF has a very good ring presence, but I think that he sometimes misses the boat or misses the mark at points. I find there are moments where it's like, how do I stall? How do I sell? How do I appeal to the crowd? How do I let the time progress forward? Because I don't want to get blown up. I don't want to lose my breath and all of that stuff when it comes to MJF. And that was the figure four moment, but it was a reasonable spot. It was a reasonable spot, rest spot. So fine, that's cool. But the problem I had was that Will Osprey was selling he was selling one knee and MJF was attacking the other knee. Now, when it comes to the figure four leg lock, when you talk about the figure four in itself, it is the leg that's pressed on the other leg. That's pressing down onto the leg. That's where the pain is. That's where the pain thrives. Now, there's the other part of the leg where the knee is sticking up. That part of the knee that's just sticking out when you put someone in a figure four. This part is not in pain. This is not the pain leg. This is a pain leg that's stretched out. So when you talk about the cross, the pressure down onto the leg, that's where you're supposed to focus your energy on. And a lot of wrestlers make this mistake. And it's old school, I guess, on some senses, is that they sell the wrong leg. If you watch any of the old Ric Flair matches and stuff, guys always tend to sell the bent knee, and that's not the knee, that's not the leg that is getting the damage. Put a figure four on yourself and then or on someone, and you can kind of depict that yourself. That's the only thing and problem I had with MJF is that he wasn't paying close attention to selling the right leg that Will Osprey was selling. But neither here nor there. It's not a major mistake or anything like that. So I'm guessing that that's okay. Now you go into the first commercial break. The first commercial break where Osprey is definitely selling and MJF is working them slowly. These guys are catching their rhythm, catching their breath because it is a 60-minute match. So the flow of the match still continued to go on very well. But when you come back from the commercial break, you're looking at Both guys outside the ring. They're outside the ring. They're going into the crowd, and that's where you stall out some more, and that's where you kind of like pushing for the minutes and stuff so that you're not doing big moves, a bunch of moves and rotations and stuff. So they're in the crowd. Will Ospreay's got a little girl hitting on MJF and giving her a high five and I don't understand it. It didn't make sense to me. MJF throws a soda onto Will Ospreay. That's independent wrestling stuff. That's where you get into the crowd, get the crowd all hyped up. You do a little this and that, and then you grab one of the crowd people's drinks and throw it on the guy and stuff. That's old school independent wrestling. Fine, we're in the big leagues. Fine, they use the independent move. I'm cool with that. Match is flowing. So once we get deeper into the match, we look at MJF do a Cody cutter or try to do a Cody cutter on Will Ospreay, and he looks at the camera and then he reverses it and then he does a Cody cutter, which is, to me, that's Cody's finisher. Why are you doing that? And this is kind of like a knock or something that they did on Cody or something, because following that was the the Styles Clash on the apron. So Will Ospreay does the Styles Clash, AJ Styles finishing move on MJF on an apron. Again, why did they do that? I don't know. Was it a message to WWE saying that we're putting on this big epic match and it's so fantastic that we're going to use your wrestlers' finishers for we to kick out of? Does it make them look better or does it make them look weaker? But then the follow-up on that was MJF does the Shawn Michaels turnbuckle flip, which is he runs into the turnbuckle, flips himself up, and then flips himself back into the ring, and then gets clothesline. That's a classic Shawn Michaels move, and I have to just say that I was just bothered a little bit, And then they followed up with that with a Undertaker Tombstone pile driver. So you've got 4 WWE finishers or 4 WWE moves or WWE wrestlers or legends or whatever moves done in this 60-minute match. I didn't see the necessity of it. I didn't see why was it homage or was it like a stab at the WWE? That I can't answer. You, the fans, would have to answer that question. But now we going towards the commercial. MJF hits hits Ospreay in the shoulder. Ospreay's shoulder is like dislocated or something, and so now he's selling it. Going into commercial break, the guys come into the ring and they're checking out his shoulder and they pull his shoulder back into socket. We're at like the 45 minute mark and stuff. So now Ospreay is selling the shoulder. So this is another ways or means of a rest move where they do a move, you start working on that move, so it's slow pace, you're catching your breath, the other guy's selling it and catching his breath so that they can build up the momentum once again. And so once they build up to the momentum and stuff, they go into a bunch of near falls. Roll up, 1 count, 1 time, 1 count, 1 count, which is exciting, and that's like really good wrestling storytelling. I mean, in this match, there was a lot of good wrestling storytelling. These guys really went in on it, and they went in deep and hard. And I saw who was the better wrestler or who was the better worker in this match by watching this match. And let's get to the finish. The ring punch. MJF pulls a ring. This is like the 59-minute mark, and he hits Ospreay, pins him. 1, 2, 3. MJF is the new international champion. So MJF is the new champion. Will Ospreay lost. This was a 60-minute match. So to answer the question, to be very clear, it is very simple for me as a professional wrestler that understands the business and understands workers. There's sellers and there's workers. There's workhorses. There's high flyers. There's different types and styles of wrestlers and guys that basically would depict on how a match would go. I really wasn't sure whether or not MJF was going to be able to step up and in a match with Will Ospreay, but he did. And I would give him kudos, and I would say this was a very solid match. Great match, solid match. Crowd was into it all day. I think that some of the antics that MJF does is unnecessary, and he can just be a good worker when he wants to be. I think that his stall tactics and all the things that he does, because he doesn't want to put in all the work, shows that he can put in all the work. But to answer the one question, and that is, who's the better worker? It's Will Ospreay. He's a solid worker. Great moves. He carried MJF in a lot of the matches to keep the crowd's understanding and hype level up. Even when they were doing rest moves, selling the match, selling the injuries, selling everything, it was a key factor in making this match a tremendous match. So if you ask the Shadow, I say Will Ospreay is a better worker. I will also say that MJF has proven that he can be a good worker when he wants to be. It's just a question of why he doesn't always put on a great match. Lazy, rest holes, selling to the crowd, playing to the crowd, rolling out of the ring, all the antics and dumb things that is like, dude, this is old. You're trying to be an old school wrestler in a modern day, and your old school style kind of clashes with what you're trying to accomplish. So either be one or the other, but you can't be both or incorporate both a little bit better. But I will say that he did incorporate both pretty well in this match. So rated 1 to 5, what do I give this match? I give this match Will Ospreay, MJF, AEW Dynamite, 250th episode. I give this match a 3.5 stars. 3.5 stars. I almost said 4, but I'm going to give it a 3.5 stars because I thought that there was just the length of the match was too long, and because MJF could have eliminated all that pacing of the match a little bit better by just like spots, rest hold, spots, rest hold. There was a few things that were good, a few things that were bad, but overall, it was a really solid match. 3.8. How about that? And this is the Shadow. This is the Shoe Shot. Like and subscribe to the Shadowe Knows Network. And always remember to tune in if you got the guts.